Hello, good morning, and welcome to Newsfile. This is your most authoritative news analysis platform. TUC has shown that power belongs to the people, and Okujeto Ablakwa has proven that Parliament or MPs can be useful. This is Manhyia Azura Awene speaking. To organize Labour's decisive action in threat of a complete shutdown that has forced Minister Brian Champon's Rock City Hotel's withdrawal and SSNIT's termination of sale of 60% in its hotels. Is that the end of the story? John Mahama's interaction with the press, leading to positive reviews, attracts an invitation by Dr. Bawumia to a debate by presidential candidates. Arrogant or not, will Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh NAPO head the MPP's Breaking the Eight agenda? Speaker of Parliament refers IGP leak tape committee report to the president. So that's where the buck stops after all. We will try to predict what becomes of this report. I'm Samson, Lardy, Anyenini. We'll be right back to deal with the vexed matters. Welcome back. And Samson's take, I title it, "It Can't Be Business as Usual." It cannot be business as usual, and it must not. Chapter 1. Article 1, Clause 1 of the 1992 Constitution of Ghana. The Constitution is the supreme law of Ghana. What it says about anything, about anybody, is final. It says, quote, "The sovereignty of Ghana." Sovereignty is the ultimate power of the state, beyond which there's no more power. The final power of the state. It says the sovereignty of Ghana. So the ultimate final power, authority of the state called Ghana resides in, not Akufo-Addo, not Bagbin, not Gertrude Araba Isaba Tokono, not Akufo-Dampare, not your army commanders, not your party chairman, not your presidential candidates. The ultimate final power of Ghana resides not in any of these, not in the executive, not in parliament, not in the judiciary, but it says in the people of Ghana. That is you. So if all these institutions have any power, if all these persons have any power, read your constitution. It says they are exercising that power on your behalf because you give that power to them. You donate it to them. So it says the sovereignty of Ghana resides in the people of Ghana. At another point, it says it springs from the people, in whose name, mark that, in whose name any power, authority exercise is exercised in your name, and for whose welfare the powers of government are to be exercised in the manner and within the limits laid down in the Constitution. Your power is not limited to voting every 4 years. After you have voted, your power has not been curtailed. It's still there. The TUC just showed you that this power resides in the people. Kenyans exercise this power less than 2 years into office of their president. Check the results.
In keeping with the enhanced austerity measures we have committed to implement and align government expenditures within the budgetary implications of the withdrawal of the Finance Bill 2024, the following actions shall be taken with immediate effect towards the realization of the new budget. State corporations with overlapping and duplicating functions will be dissolved, resulting in the elimination of their operational and maintenance costs, and their functions will be integrated into the respective line ministries. Staff currently employed by the affected corporations will be transferred to ministries and other state agencies within government. The decision to fill the position of Chief Administrative Secretaries is hereby suspended. The number of advisors in government shall be reduced by 50% within the public service with immediate effect. Budget lines providing for the operations of the Office of the First Lady, the spouse of the Deputy President, and the Prime Cabinet Secretary will be removed. Similarly, the budget provisions for confidential budgets in various executive offices, including my own office, have been removed, and the budget for renovations across government reduced by 50%. Henceforth, public servants who attain the retirement age of 60 shall be required to immediately proceed on retirement with no extensions to their tenure of service whatsoever. The purchase of new motor vehicles by the government is suspended for 12 months, except for security agencies, while a new policy on transport for public officers will be developed. All non-essential travel by state and public officers is hereby suspended. No state officer or public servant shall participate in public contributions or haramphs going forward. The Attorney General is hereby directed to prepare and submit legislation to this effect and develop a mechanism for structured and transparent contributions for public, charitable, and philanthropic purposes. These measures will be followed by changes in government that I will be making shortly.
And in fact, those changes have been made and they are being made. His entire cabinet has been collapsed. When they started the protest, the police began in a repressive mode, like we see the Ghana police do, very shamefully. Almost all demonstrations in this country, the police has problems with them. It tells you the problem is not with the people exercising their constitutional right, but the police. Like almost 90-80%, they are always fighting the demonstrators, exercising their rights. So, you have the power. Just exercise it. 47 state corporations with overlapping and duplicative functions dissolved in Kenya. The number of advisors in government to the government reduced by 50%. Ministers are resigning in this bloated government, and they are being replaced at a time when your financial muscle has been completely wiped off. If you manage to keep 100,000 in your bank, that 100,000 now equals to less than half of the value of that money. And yet the government continues to act insensitively. The president is not listening, and you are pretending to be powerless, that the president is not listening, so you can't do anything. No, you have the power in the Constitution. And that will be my take. We'll be right back with my guests.
For your future, okay? Even Jesus Christ says that I must work the works of he who sent me while it is day. So this is the day. A day is coming, you'll be 60 years old. You see how your body looks fresh. At age 60, you see whether it will be like this. So we are talking about age 60 and beyond.
One of the hotels was not doing very well, Lardy Beach. Our members on the board moved and pushed for a committee to be formed. The committee worked, came out with recommendations, and that is why Lardy is now making profits. We are saying that take the rest of the hotel through that process.
There are certain situations you need to take impromptu decisions. And that's the decision that we've taken. That come Monday, every worker must sit in the house, including our trotro drivers. No transport. We all sit in the house.
Organized labor would like to reiterate its well-known position that the proposed sale of SSNIT shares in the 4 hotels is not in the best interest of Ghanaian workers. We therefore demand that SSNIT terminates the process immediately. From Monday, 15th of July, 2024, all workers in Ghana must not go to work until SSNIT publicly announces the termination of the process for the sale of its shares in the hotels.
Right after this particular announcement yesterday, the Rock City Hotel, Brian Champon's hotel, issued a statement reluctantly withdrawing from the acquisition of 60% stake in SSNIT hotels. Organized labor continued to be heard. They said that had absolutely nothing to do with their threat of a complete shutdown of the economy beginning Monday. It didn't take long. That is the power that they have been toying with. SSNIT then issues a statement discontinuing the sale of 60% stake in its hotels. I read the statement. The Board and Management of Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SSNIT, wish to inform the public that the process to divest 60% of SSNIT's stake in the hotels has been terminated. We wish to assure pensioners, contributors, and the public of our commitment to managing the affairs of the trust prudently. They are going to manage it this time without selling off some of it or their equity in it, for the sustainability of the pensions scheme. Guess who signed it? Elizabeth Equia Ohene. You know why I say guess who signed it? She was on the defense and wrote, I don't want to describe what she wrote. Let me come to my guests straight away so we'll get to hear from them what they make of the development. Dennis Miracle Sabwaje is Director of Communications for the Baumia 2024 campaign. Sami Jemfi is National Communications Officer of the NDC. Kofi Bentel is a lawyer and Senior Vice President, Imani Africa. We have Perpetual Ofori Ampofo, President, Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. They also issued a statement. I've lost count of the number of worker organizations that issue statements, from JUSAG to all of them. There's too many of them. The Ghana Medical Association, maybe the Ghana Bar Association doesn't belong to them, but they should also have issued a statement. The Bar Association that continues to disappoint Ghanaians in the most embarrassing way. Angel Kabonu is President, National Association of graduate teachers. He also joins us. Now, your quick take.
This is what active citizenship looks like. And many people have been saying things to the effect that, oh, so did organized labor have this power? And Samson, I like your take. This power has always been there. And that is what some of us have spent more than half of our lives trying to whip up. That power is in the people. And if you are going to have a country that you want, that you will do the things that you want it to do, you can't just relax and expect it to just happen. It takes consistent work. Yesterday, I was having a discussion with some friend of mine, and I told him Rome was not built in a day. It was built every day. The everyday part is what we are missing. You have to consistently be on the leaders. Unfortunately, this country, with all its promise, throws up a set of leaders who are predatory. They only look out for themselves. And unfortunately, they spend too little time doing what leaders must do. Okujeto is a hero today because this is what leadership is for. But look at that. There's leadership, then there's mobilization, and you were talking about how everybody just gets onto this train. That is where you see the power of the people. There is nothing that will not be achieved if we can get this level of mobilization. So look, all of us should see this as a template, and when we feel strongly about anything, first let us speak. Okay? Speak like we are doing here, Newsfile, radio, everywhere. Let our parliamentarians pick it up. Parliament can do so much. And if the leadership, whoever they are, refuse to listen, block their ears, decide to run roughshod over us, let the people show that we have the power. Sovereignty is in the people.
You know this power of the people that organized labor has. And when you began the campaign against the Fortis merchant bank issue, Egbert Fabel, I think you had something to do with it, led Anyenini to court. He went to court as a contributor to SSNIT. The court said he was a busybody and that they have a board. They should leave the decision to a board, not for members of contributors of the fund. He was thrown out. That was lost.
It was lost.
Why didn't you think that this kind of pressure was necessary at the time?
Very interesting. I was counsel, myself, Egbert, and Hassan. We went to court.
Hassan Tampuli, who is now Minister Transport, right?
Yes. Interestingly, the law was not on our side. And this is trust law. Right? I don't want to go into it, but the point is, SSNIT is a trust. It has trustees. The trustees are the ones to protect the fund. The trustees were the ones gutting the fund, messing with the fund. Our point was that we are beneficiaries. Seen as a beneficiary.
Contributors and beneficiaries.
Contributors and beneficiaries. So seeing that what you are contributing to, what you are supposed to wait and benefit from, is being whittled away by the people who are in trust supposed to protect it, we went to court on the principle that we must have a right to say something about it. The judge told us that I understand your argument. It makes sense. But unfortunately, the law was not on our side. That is the difference between judges who are bold spirits and timid souls. With all respect to the judge, she ruled on the law. But on that case, she should have made a departure. So she didn't give us the case. Unfortunately, then they called Anyenini a busybody. He was not a busybody. Subsequently, in the Supreme Court, on different cases on probate, it has been ruled that beneficiaries can actually step in when they find that their inheritance is being whittled away. But one of the things we didn't have then, we have fought the merchant bank case, and I don't want to go into all the history and where we are right now concerning these things. And my pain is you just don't get a certain level of support. And then you get a situation where some people also, I mean, everybody has their views. You can be on any side. But principle always remains principle.
So here is where the courts could have intervened, and it didn't, and disappointed the masses, and said, let your guys on the board
they said,
do
let
it.
the trustees, the ones who are causing the problem, do it.
Today, when Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa raised this, that refrain came up again If you have any problem, go to court. If you have any problem, go to court.
You've been there. So you see, when the courts feel, look, I'm telling you, me, I have all kinds of memories and analysis of this thing. This is directly the result of the case that we lost. And I tell law students something, that I'm the kind of lawyer who does not care whether I win or lose as long as I make my case. So in fact, in that particular case, we knew the law was not on our side, but we had to, and we decided we're going to go to court and lose and let the statements be made. What Okujeto did is directly the result of that court case we lost. Because if we had won that court case, this demonstration wouldn't have been necessary.
And like Dr. Koja Santi will always say, what you guys do is what it ought to be. Pushing for what the law ought to be and not what the law is.
Justice and law can be very different.
Right. I have guests from Labour Front on the lines. Please hold on patiently for me. I'm coming to you shortly. Sami Jemfi. Look, I was very proud of Kofi Bento when Occupy Flagstaff House, the police decided to arrest some of the demonstrators. And once again, in a very shameful fashion. He jumped into the vehicle in a way that was dangerous. I was actually concerned for him and said, if you are picking these people, you pick all of us up and follow them. Is this the way things ought to be done?
Yeah, this is the way things ought to be done when you have an intransigent and belligerent political leadership at the helm of affairs in your country. As you rightly espoused during your take, sovereignty resides in the people. The government of the day is only exercising power that we have vested in them to be exercised for and on our behalf. And the Constitution guarantees the rights of the people of this country to demand probity and accountability from duty bearers. And so this is how it ought to be. And for me, what has happened marks a watershed moment in the history of this country. You can see a new awakening of the consciousness of the country. People are just tired. They are tired of the state capture. They are tired of the continuous rape and abuse of the public purse. They are tired of the looting of state assets by a privileged few. And they are saying enough is enough. I want to salute my good brother, the NDC Member of Parliament for the good people of North Tonk, Okujeto Ablakwa, for continuously shining the light on this matter through his constant advocacy, awakening the attention of the nation on this matter and engaging all necessary stakeholders, bringing them on board to join in this struggle. And I want to salute the organized labor, TUC, Ghana Medical Association, the Judicial Staff Association of Ghana, the teacher unions, the Ghana Nurses and Midwifery Council, all the unions who came together to join this struggle. What has happened is testament to the fact that we have the power to stop the nonsense going on. We have tolerated state capture and corruption for far too long. We sat in this country and did nothing about the PDS scam. When a critical state asset, 20 billion Ghana cedis worth of asset of ECG was handed over to a company with no proven technical or financial capacity. In the long run, the government said they had defrauded us till date. Samson, you've been talking about this matter. The electricity bills we pay to the company, over 1.5 billion cedis, have not been refunded to the state. We've tolerated this fraudulent fight against Galamsey, which this government has been, talking about all over the place, where we were told that somebody was putting his presidency on the line to ensure that we stop the degradation of our environment, only for functionaries and top officials in his government to take over the illicit Galamsey trade. Today, look at our water bodies, look at our forest reserves. So we've tolerated this for far too long. Today, in this capital city of Accra, you have $58 million of taxpayers' money, equivalent to almost 1 billion cedis, illegally taken from the consolidated fund and sunk into a useless pit. A useless pit. And the citizenry is quiet. You talk about it, they say go to court. So that is what has emboldened the corrupt leadership we have. That is why they continue to act with impunity. Because look, this sale of these SSNIT hotels simply doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense to sell Lardy Hotel, which is making profits and which is more profitable than Rock City. It didn't make sense to even sell struggling hotels, which have a huge potential of becoming profitable under a proper management. It simply didn't make sense. The deal was fraught with constitutional violations, insider dealing, procurement rigging, statutory breaches, and all that. It was clear. Yet you had officials of the government, those at the helm of affairs at SSNIT, and now we are told the National Pensions Regulatory Authority actually clearing this deal that it should go through when they knew that everything was wrong with this deal. You see, so I was excited. What we saw yesterday was unprecedented. I've never seen such, an industrial action at that level. Where
hold
you
your
have
thoughts.
all the unions coming together to say enough is enough. Just to wrap up,
yes.
Just to wrap up before you come back to me, this should be a sign to those in leadership that you cannot take the people for granted all the time, and that there must be a change in the plutocracy going on. People are tired.
I'll return to you for just about 2 minutes comments each on the prescriptions, the way forward.
Yeah.
And should this be the end?
Never.
There are those who are suggesting that for all the managers and stakeholders at the forefront of this process who were tone deaf to everything organized labor and all the people were saying from the very start must lose their jobs. That's how to show faith to the people. Let's begin with Perpetual Ampofo. Okay, Perpetual Ampofo is president of the Nurses and Midwives Association. She'll get back to us shortly. Angel Kabonu is president of NAGRAT. They all have issued statements. So you knew you could get a result through this posture. And yet, for over a month, you have been shouting. Why?
Samson, good morning. And let me also greet my friends in your studio. You know, strike action are taken as the last resort when all other civil means fail. We tried to engage. We raised our voices in the media. We met in the presidency. Half promises were made and violated. At the end of the day, we reached the cul-de-sac and we were faced with an impenetrable wall. And the only way we can go through is to declare a strike action as declared yesterday.
So now Rock City says, okay, we are not interested anymore. We back out. We back off. SSNIT says we have terminated the entire process. We are no longer going to put 60% of our stake in the hotels for sale. That's it, right? No more strike beginning Monday.
We got that information this morning. I have had discussion with leadership just a few minutes ago. We indicated that from what I see, that statement has not been signed. We have not seen the signature of the board chair of SSNIT. If you have the signed one, Samson, I stand corrected. But with what we saw, there was no sign, or it was not signed. So we have some little apprehension with regards to that. But if it is authentic, it will really play a very vital role in the decision that we are going to take by the close of day or tomorrow.
But you have heard Brian Champong confirm that the letter that comes from Rock City Hotel is what it is. They are no more interested. Shouldn't that be sufficient?
Yes. No, as for the Brian Champong part, we were not taking that into consideration like we are taking into consideration the announcement by SSNIT, because Brian Achampong is just one of those who applied to purchase the hotel. Assuming SSNIT does not take a decision to abrogate the sale, then with the withdrawal of Brian Achampong, another person can just get into line. Don't forget, the former chairman of the New Patriotic Party came on air and said that they even gave a higher bid and they were denied. So
you're talking about Freddie Blay and what he had to say about his son.
Absolutely. So if we are not too careful, if it's only the withdrawal of Brian Achampong, then Freddie Blay can quickly just get himself into line. So the most important thing here is just to authenticate the announcement of SSNIT that they have abrogated their intention to sell, and that we can move forward with revamping those hotels.
Right. But
something,
yes,
something small. You see, I'll plead with you and your other colleague lawyer, my friend, on the panel. His name just escaped me. I just don't know why.
Kofi Bento.
Kofi Bento and Akoto Ampao played a very vital role in us pursuing the Tier 2 pension. But Kofi Bento has just decided to abandon me. But I plead with you and Kofi Bento, if you don't have the capacity, introduce to us some trust lawyers, because we are getting serious problems with our pension issues, and we need some trust lawyers to come on board for us to straighten up things.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
But I was going to ask you this final question before I go to Perpetual Ampofo. Now that SSNIT has come out, you are saying you want to see Elizabeth Ohene's signature. Why should that matter? This is what it is. They have terminated the process.
We are in a technological age, and people are capable of doing anything with technology. We don't want to take a decision that will smite our faces on Monday morning. We want to get surety that it is the SSNIT board headed by Elizabeth Ohene, who actually took the decision and communicated same to the public.
All right. So once you see or you have a confirmation, double confirmation, so to speak, from SSNIT that this is what it is, the strike is over.
Then leadership will issue a statement on that decision, because our call is SSNIT should abrogate the sale. So if SSNIT abrogates the sale, we quickly issue a statement confirming that decision to our members. Okay.
Thank you, Angel Kabonu. Let's go to Perpetual Ampofo of the Nurses and Midwifery group. Thank you very much, Perpetual, for joining us.
Thank you, Samson, for having me. But my name is Perpetual Ofori Ampofo. Please
Perpetual Ofori Ampofo. Thank you very much. So you are happy about the development since less than how many hours ago? Some 12 or less than, hours ago since you gave the ultimatum?
Not at all. I think we are not there yet. The fact is that, let me start by greeting your listeners and those who have the panel at the studio. And let me say a big congratulations to the leaders of organized labor, trade union leaders from all the 3 trade centers in Ghana, TUC, Forum, and GFL for the unity and solidarity we have shown. And we also thank the good people of Ghana for all the support. Indeed, we have seen all those, the communique from, or the letter from Rock City and the supposed press release from SSNIT. Indeed, the focus of our action has never been on Honorable Brian Achampong or Rock City. That is not the focus. The focus is that we have indicated consistently we needed SSNIT to discontinue the whole process of the sale of the 60% share in those 4 hotels. And the systems we had to go through yesterday to issue the various statements, even as at this morning, we are not done yet. We went through the trouble of using virtual systems to reach out to our council members to take those decisions and write our letters and sign them. I'm not seeing any seriousness from the board of SSNIT. They are taking us seriously. You see, in this day of AI and everything that can be done electronically and all of that, what shows that what is flying all about?
Perpetual, let me tell you. Hello, Perpetual.
Responsibility.
Hello, Perpetual.
Yes.
I, on Newsfile, Joy Multimedia, your independent, credible, and fearless network, can confirm to you this morning that the statement from SSNIT is authentic. SSNIT confirms this to us, this very moment.
Problem. Can I speak now?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I like all the research you've given, and big ups to you and the work that you continue to do. Look, what I'm saying is this issue is of importance to the whole nation. Organized labor has gone through the trouble of holding a press conference and doing what it needs to do to safeguard the interests of workers and the good people of Ghana. SSNIT cannot use just this medium to just send out information. You see, we want them, what they could have done was hold a press conference, issue it, and give copies to the media. Or put it on their letterhead and duly sign it. They could have also written to organized labor to say that, yes, we've heard your call, this was the decision we have taken. Going forward, we want to engage with you to ensure that, to find strategies to ensure that the management of
that's substance over form.
Are important. That is what we are looking for.
That is form over substance. Regularly, SSNIT has issued statements in this same manner. Is there something else you guys are pursuing rather than this? You say you want it terminated. They have issued a statement. They say it's terminated. So what else is your problem?
No. Don't read anything into this. Look, it has come out. We are saying we don't even, you have indicated, you don't work with me. You are saying that it's authentic, it's from SSNIT.
You didn't write to SSNIT. Why should they be writing to you?
We issued a press release.
They have also issued a press release.
Individual unions have communicated to their members or their constituents to follow a certain line of action. We think that they should come out clearly and do the needful and let us know that indeed they are, or they have issued it, or they have done this, or they have done that. We, as organized labor, it is our responsibility that once we are certain that it is what it is, we will call a meeting and call our various actions off. It is our duty, and we'll call on our workers to go back.
Are you not being unreasonable? Organized labor, are you not being unreasonable unnecessarily?
No. It's not being unreasonable. It is not a matter of being unreasonable.
You are threatening to shut down. You are threatening to shut down the labor front on Monday. Our economy is already in trouble, and they have quickly acted to avert what you threatened to do from Monday, and you are still saying, what should they do again?
Look, as I speak to you on this call at this very moment, leadership of organized labor has not rallied around this statement we are talking about for us to take a decision moving forward. So I cannot be on this call with you and tell you that based on what has been issued, we are calling off all actions that we have sent out. So that is the position. And I wish you will appreciate it.
Okay. Look, to be frank with you, I have certain cases on Monday. I don't want to go to an empty court. Anyway, thank you very much. So once that is done, you will call off the strike.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you very much, Elizabeth Ofori, Perpetual Ofori Ampofo. Thank you very much. So I said I'll come back to you for just 2 minutes because we're hearing from some other quarters. They say the head of SSNIT, MPRA, the labor minister, is it, who went to parliament to say they are going off, literally calling the bluff of labor, and all those who are saying this is wrong, it should not be done. Something must happen. The president should show, if they are not resigning, he should sack them immediately.
Absolutely. I think he should. Look, these are the people who have sat down, blocked their ears, and have basically risked this whole country to the point where, you see what you're talking about, we are going to get a gridlock. I hope the organized labor takes the victory. This is a great victory. We've tried it. I mean, everything works in a continuum. So I believe going to court was useful at the time. Now we've gone, we didn't get it, so they've been on the street. Take the victory. Let's try, and like you're saying, not risk our fragile economy anymore. But the people who caused this are the Director General of SSNIT, all those people at MPRA who passed this thing, the people who blocked their ears, went to parliament and wanted to run roughshod over the people. You don't want a situation where people get to the point where they feel nothing will be done when we talk. We have to get onto the streets because anything can happen when that stuff is happening. And by the way, there's a lot of perverse law going on in SSNIT, apart from mismanagement. And please, Angel Kabono, for the past 10 years or so, we've been going back and forth in SSNIT. I promise you that I'm still dedicated to that cause. The law, as I read it, tells me that SSNIT belongs to workers, not the government. What you have to do as organized labor is to get the proper wherewithal to have that thing changed. The government has been appointing the board, the majority of the board of SSNIT and management. That is wrong. That is wrong. We don't have the time here for me to explain it to you, but read trust law, read the SSNIT law. It should not be like that. In the past, it used to be like that, and that's why government has controlled it. I'm saying this to connect to what you asked. What should happen? There should be a total overhauling of SSNIT. And I think it starts from the people there who should not be there, who are also not doing a good job. Please, let them move off, and let's get some calm, and let's re-engineer this whole sector.
Okay. Sammy?
Well, Samson, I've already said that the termination of this agenda to sell these SSNIT hotels is victory for the people of this country, particularly labor. But that victory, in my humble opinion, is totally meaningless and useless until and unless it is linked to the total dismissal of all those who directly or indirectly had a role to play in this attempted robbery. And I agree with you, this must start with the Minister for Employment and Labor, Ignatius Bafo-Awuah. I mean, the impunity, the lack of respect for the concerns of the workers of this country. To think that he actually had the audacity to go to our representatives in Parliament and tell them that the MPRA, who a few weeks ago told us that they had directed the suspension of this thinking deal, has now had a change of mind and has given the deal a clean bill of health, shows that this minister is not fit to be where he is. He must go. The Director General of SSNIT must go. His position is no longer untenable because he cannot be a trustee. This is not somebody who is alive to his fiduciary duties to the workers of this country. He is not fit to be there. That entire SSNIT board, including the representatives of organized labor on that board, must be dissolved because they were all there when this deal was going on.
I've heard other leaders of organized labor within institutions say that they must be recalled because they have not represented their interests.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely. Because they were there not to represent their interests, but to represent the interests of workers. And they have failed woefully to do so. And they must also go. But more importantly, the regulator. In fact, that is the greatest disappointment in this matter. The regulator that we had some confidence in, that at least they will stand up for what is right.
But the issue eventually got to the president, the man with ultimate responsibility and executive power, and he met them.
Yes.
So why are you saying these who followed the law? Elizabeth Ohene and the rest were telling us about how the law is being followed.
Well, we are 146 days to December 7th, and the people of this country will exact accountability against President Akufo-Addo. That will be his day of reckoning and his day of accountability.
That's the theory I preach against. We must not wait for
I know. Ideally, we should be able to use the power of the people to compel him to be accountable. But we're just 4-5 months to the election. I would say, let's wait for December 7th and get President Akufo-Addo to pay for this. Because it was sad that he attempted to talk out, to talk Labour out of this action and to convince them to support this corrupt deal. But you see, the NPRA...
It's okay, we must move on. We must go to
Let me conclude with this one. The NPRA board must also be dissolved and the CEO dismissed because they are a creature of law. They are not subject to the whims and caprices or the dictates of the president. And they are supposed to act independently in the interest of pensioners. And so for them to have cleared this deal, they must also face the acts. They must also be held accountable. That board must also be dissolved. And I agree with Kofi when he says that the SSNIT law must be reviewed.
Frank Anderson Jr. says that, I love this woman. Frank Anderson Jr. says, I love this woman. These are the kinds of forthright women we need in leadership. No government official should be allowed to acquire state property. That's the bill that Samuel Kudjeto-Ablakwa is beginning to propose. There didn't used to be law. And our Kwame Nkrumah will get a piece of land for some state organization and then get extra land for the future because there will be an expansion. Some of those extra lands he got, governments in recent years, have only learned to acquire them for themselves and their people rather than using it for the benefit of the expansion of those institutions. What's wrong with this political class of the generation in this country? So he says the people must rise and protect state properties for the future generations. If we fail, children of these corrupt politicians will tell our children their parents never lived life. Okay, this one says, is it true that the trade fair site has been sold to a private individual? I don't know about that. I know about parks and gardens where there are problems and so on. I understand that Dennis wants to... Okay, sorry, that's actually not what it is. So Dennis will join us on the next segment of the discussion. This is where we take a break. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform. And here on Newsfile, we put Ghana first.
An authority that NPRA has since indicated that they had seen the processes and they think that SSNIT can go ahead.
Their will to fight corruption was there. We even retrieved monies from some of those involved in JIDA. We retrieved as much as 50 million Ghana cedis at the time. And so the track record is there. And I can assure you, if you believe that I was imbued with the Father for All syndrome, it has been exercised. And it's been exercised because it's a demand by the people of Ghana. The people of Ghana are asking for accountability. Galamsey is a problem of compliance. We have all the laws. We have everything. It's the enforcement that is the problem. And the enforcement is a problem because those who should be enforcing it are part of the problem. Today, DCs and ministers all have small-scale concessions, and I indulge in Galamsey. And that's why I said, any person who serves in my government, if you want to be a small-scale gold miner, go and be a small-scale gold miner. If you're a DCE, be a small-scale gold miner. Don't take public office under my administration. And so we're not going to countenance having any of our ministers or our political appointees involved in small-scale gold mining so that we can enforce the laws properly. This is not just a promise, it's a commitment. I will reset the economy and Ghana will be open for business for 24 hours a day. My position on free SHS is known. In 2015, I launched Progressive Free SHS. That's what the Constitution says. The only difference between us and MPP is the approach. We thought that we should put the infrastructure in place and we should do the necessary preparation to absorb the free SHS. And so we started with day students. We made it free for day students. And in the second year, we absorbed 120,000 students on the free SHS. Nanado himself lauded me. It's there in the media. Just, if I had my phone here, I would Google it. He said, Nanado lauds Mahama's free SHS. It's there. UNESCO, congratulated us for launching the free SHS. How can a person who launched free SHS be against free SHS? And so it's a political gimmick that is played by our opponents. Free SHS has come to stay.
So, me bedi e makasa chen wo dem metunufo. So, was in the banana e do makasa chen wo dem metunufo. So, enzo ma men kan chao. Dr. Matthew Prepe, otu was man kan chao. Emma Dr. Bawumia nunu ho so wo yi wo. So, Emma Dr. Bawumia nunu so wo yi wo. So, Emma nunu ho so wo yi wo. So, Emma nunu so wo yi wo.
Right. So, John Mahama began, as we heard him, to a question about fighting corruption. And he had also been asked about the Airbus scandal. Just maybe he spoke a bit too early. The special prosecutor has just issued its half-yearly report. And it says the office has concluded investigations into alleged bribery by Airbus SE, a European multinational aerospace corporation, regarding the sale and purchase of military aircraft for the Republic. The office was engaged with Interpol and the central authorities of the United Kingdom and the United States under the Mutual Legal Assistance Regime. The special prosecutor will issue directives and further action on the matter in due course. All right? He spoke about free SHS and said he started progressively free SHS. He asked all of us to go check, even by Google search, and we'll find that Akufo-Addo lauded same. On the 6th of March, 2014, Citi reported Mahama's free SHS, good news for Ghanaians, Nana Akufo-Addo. But is that really the case, that they have not been against the policy as boldly pursued by the Akufo-Addo administration? Let's begin a quick analysis of the press encounter, which, in our estimation, is what has led Dr. Bawumia to say, let's rather have a presidential debate. Yes, Kofi.
Yeah, let's start straight. That was a wonderful press conference by President Mahama, and it's proper. Let's also say that...
Let me welcome Dennis Miracle Abuaje onto the show. He speaks for the Bawumia 2024 campaign. Thanks for joining us.
President Mahama has enjoyed a very interesting rehabilitation from the days when he lost power till now. And people often say opposition is hell, opposition is difficult. Opposition can be very sweet when you represent the anger of the people and you channel their frustration, which is what I think President Mahama, where he is now. There's so much anger, there's so much disappointment, and he channels and represents that. So to that extent, he did a good job. We should do more of that. But we should have deeper interrogation of their plans for the future. Campaigns should be about the future. What plans do you have? And let us force them to give us some detail, because these things end up changing.
I have listened across the board. Journalists who attended those who had the opportunity to ask questions, including myself, and media analysts. I'm yet to hear one negative about how he went about the interaction and how the responses he gave. You hear overwhelmingly, including from the journalists who were disappointed that they couldn't ask their questions, that they were satisfied with how he went about answering the questions. He showed that he had control and that he knew the issues.
Yeah.
What's your analysis?
I agree. It's just that one session is not enough to exhaust all the necessary issues and the pertinent issues of going to certain detail, which is why I'm asking for a bit more. And maybe because I come from a think tank, there must be focused. Let's have one on industry, one on water, one on energy, okay, and dig deep. So this is proper. I would say Vice President Bawumia should do similar things. But again, then you will learn that when you are the object or the person who represents what people are angry about, it will degenerate. Okay, so I can understand why, that would be a problem. But
someone saying that's a fear and that's something he shouldn't try. Because when the journalists come there, you are the one in the helm of affairs now. So all the things that are going bad, they will direct the questions
Which
to.
is where I'm
Even though Mahama is in the opposition,
yes,
he had to take some of those questions. But he can always say, well, I'm not the one in charge.
Yes. So if I was advising Vice President Bawumia, I'll say, be careful about that. Because you won't get substance. You will get, an expression of anger. But we should find a way to force these things out of our leaders. Because look, whether it's free SHS or whatever it is, they start with campaign promises. They keep going, and then later they become policies and they spend billions of dollars on it. Sometimes it's wasted. If the issues are not interrogated, I would always remind Dennis and you and everybody about what we had to say about free SHS, which were fought over. Now we are at a point where the things we had to say are the things that are being discussed 10 years down the line. If we had done that earlier, maybe we could have saved ourselves a lot more pain as a country. So it's a good thing. He should do more of that so we can pin him to it. We should figure out a way of getting the government this up. By the way, the government has ministries of information and etc. So, it's all good. Congrats to him.
I'm taking some clips out of that interaction down so that just in case, if they are lucky enough to win, we'll play some of it back to them because you can guarantee that the template never really changes.
Oh,
He kept using the word, vote for me to reset the system. Reset, like a complete overhaul. We'll see. Yes, Sammy? After the press encounter, what's the feedback you have received and what's the strategy going forward?
Well, the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. I listened to your interview with Johnny Hughes of 3FM. I've listened to the likes of Umaru Standa, Bernard Avle. All the media guys who came, those who had the opportunity to ask questions and those who didn't have the opportunity. And you can see that the media, and by extension the people of this country, were starving for an opportunity like this to engage with their leaders. And you see, leaders must be transparent. Leaders must be accountable. And that is what President Mahama stands for. What he did was historic. What he did was unprecedented because I have never seen an opposition leader engage the media in the manner he did, share his vision, and open himself up for close to 3 hours of questions, more than 2.5 hours. At the point, the moderator, was tired, and he was not tired. He was ready to go. I had to tell him that it's getting to 11 p.m. That is how open the man is. And like you said, he demonstrated command over the issues. He demonstrated depth. He demonstrated that he understands the problems confronting us, and he has that transformational vision that this nation needs. He has the vision to reset our country. The institutional memory was on point. His cognitive ability to think on his feet and answer questions without calling for the intervention of any former appointee or official of his was just spot on. And I want to salute President Mahama for doing this, not for the NDC, but for the entire nation. This is what we expect from our leaders. But you see, there were certain key takeaways, which For me, I know you have your takeaways. I have my takeaways. Kofi may have his own takeaways. But for me, some of the things that stood out for me was his clear and definite promise to scrap certain nuisance taxes to ameliorate the plight of Ghanaians. Because, Samson, the reality in our country today is that cost of living has become increasingly unbearable for the vast majority of our people. Businesses are collapsing. Some are relocating to neighboring countries. Citizens are suffering, importers, traders. And one of the contributing factors for that unbearable cost of living and cost of doing business in the country is the issue of excessive taxation. We were promised by the MPP that they were going to move us from taxation to production. Yet we have seen myriads of taxes being heaped on us. And that is why I was excited.
They made that promise when they didn't expect that there would be COVID, they didn't expect that there would be Ukraine, they didn't expect all these things.
They made that promise when they knew very well that in the management of an economy, there can be endogenous and exogenous shocks. It will be...
Okay, so quickly go to your takeaways.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was very excited when President Mahama stated that he was going to scrap the COVID levy. That was the first time he was making that bold declaration. Because that tax simply doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that after our government had access to over $6 billion in COVID inflows and misappropriated those funds, distributed it to their party apparatchiks, something that Felicia Tete, their Northern Regional Vice Chairperson, has actually confessed to, they will turn around and impose a COVID levy on us. President Mahama says he will scrap it. He retreated his promise to scrap the obnoxious e-levy, which according to him doesn't make sense, and his promise to scrap the 10% betting levy. And I believe that if we give him the chance, at least these taxes and many more which will be contained in our manifesto will be scrapped to reduce the cost of doing business and the cost of living in this country. The second takeaway for me was his emphatic declaration and promise not to allow any member of his government to purchase a state asset. That is a promise that none of the leading political parties in this country has ever made.
So that's like Saul turned to Paul, right?
Of course.
Because he's superintended over an administration where these acquisitions have been going on.
That's the benefit of experience. Because you see, when you get opportunity to serve, Samson, you've been hosting this program for years. And those who watch you will tell you that you've been improving. There are things that you used to do 2 years ago that you don't do today. That is, life is progressive. And when you get opportunity to serve your people and you go and sit back and look at your service, what happened, the laws and everything, you reflect and you see areas for improvement.
So that's why is it just a promise or it's along the lines of what Okujeto is pursuing for a law that bans public officials from acquiring state property?
You see, you don't fight corruption and you don't fight some of these things through laws per se. There are many laws in this country which don't get implemented because the political will is not there. What President Mahama has said is about his political will to ensure that law or no law, you can't be a member of my government and buy state land. Look at our state lands today. You were talking about the parks and gardens land at cantonments, the one at Wa, they are all gone. They've been sold. The Boston Institute land at Roman Ridge, gone. The prisons land around the Dankwa Circle, gone. So we can't continue on that path. And he says, I'm telling you, you can hold me accountable. I will not allow my officials, my appointees to do that. He went on to say that he will not even allow any appointee of his to engage in mining, not illegal mining. Although mining is legal, he says that if you are an appointee, you're supposed to help me fight the canker of illegal mining. And once you are involved in mining, the laws cannot be implemented the way they ought. And so if you want to do mining, no problem, go and do your mining. You have no place in my government. Samson, again, his position on the cathedral scam, a cathedral built on the altar of lies, a cathedral that we were told that no public funds will be invested in. But today we know from government's own records presented to Parliament that close to $1 billion cedis, equivalent to $58 million, has been sunk in with nothing to show. The only thing they have to show is the biggest pit in the whole world. And today, The revered men of God who were on that board of trustees have all resigned and are calling for a forensic audit.
Not all.
Most of them. Well, it depends on my definition of revere, right? I think that the revere ones have resigned and they are calling for a forensic audit. And President Mahama says, I will make sure that audit happens. Anyone found culpable will be prosecuted and stolen funds retrieved. Then, on corruption, you see, you know that for more than 4 years now, or about 4 years now, the president of this country and his vice have refused to engage the media. They've been running away from the media. But the last time they engaged the media, the president came and read a long speech. And after that, limited the number of questions he was going to take. And you saw persons who were deemed to be critical of the government were never called. We allowed anybody and everybody who time could allow to ask a question to ask their questions. Some of the questions were not palatable to the ears of NDC members. But look at the tolerance of President Mahama, his composure. This question about Airbus. He said, look, my life is an open book. My record is there for everybody to see. If I have done anything wrong, prosecute me.
Be careful what you say. The OSP says he's going to issue directions.
And I'm excited about it.
You don't know what it is.
No, I'm excited because you see the OSP, he has a duty, he has a mandate. This is something that Martin Amidu started. He should come out with his directives and any preliminary findings he has made.
We have information that Martin Amidu actually did nothing when he said he had started it. It is the new Kisejabin regime that has activated all the international.
That is great. That is great.
Access to be able to do an investigation.
We want to know the truth. President Mahama himself wants that matter investigated because he knows that his hands are clean. The matter itself, which unraveled in UK, did not have his name anywhere in the records. So what you had were just rumor mongering and people making false allegations.
All right.
And he said that, look, you said that I owed hotels in Dubai. Where is the evidence? You recall what the then opposition leader, now President Akufo-Addo, said about President Mahama then. He told him that he had used $10 million to print presidential diaries. The MPP said that Mahama was a thief. He had inflated the cost of the Ridge Hospital. You discussed it here. Malik Kwekubako was the one who actually had to defend John Mahama. Their own ranking member at the time had told me
we defended him.
that those projects had not been inflated.
Yeah.
These guys who accused President Mahama have been in office for close to 8 years. Not a scintilla of evidence of wrongdoing has been established against Mahama. He remains squeaky clean. So he answered that question. But for me, the takeaway was his promise that, look, there will not be any further or no show of leniency. It cannot be business as usual. People are yearning for accountability and justice, and that nobody will be spared. Prosecutions will go on, be it MPP, and if you engage in corruption, you will be prosecuted.
So take a breather there. Take a breather there.
But I wanted to land on
take a breather there.
Just one.
Just one. Then we move.
There had been a lot of falsehood about what President Mahama intends to do about free SHS. People just concocting lies.
Is it falsehood or we are just playing back his own words to him? Not the NDC.
Which words were they playing back when they said that President Mahama will cancel free SHS? The man who launched
not about cancelling. Do you remember what Fifi Kwete said about it?
No, but
how that was all like.
Do you remember what Ken Ofori-Atta said about free SHS? Individuals in the political party
repeated what we said.
Right? The most important thing is about the position of that corporate entity called NDC and this leader, John Mahama. And he has been consistent. He launched it. We actually contemplated, conceived, captured it at Article 25B of the 1992 Constitution. We started the implementation. Check the 2016 mid-year budget review with 320,000 day students benefiting and a plan to expand coverage to cover 120,000 boarding students. And the man says, I will not cancel it. It has come to stay. I'm only coming to improve it and make it better. And he has given you the further and better particulars about how you will make it better. Abolish the double track, provide a dedicated source of funding, decentralize feeding, improve on quality, provide the teachers and the schools with the needed facilities. That is what he stands for.
There are discerning Ghanaians who are asking questions whether at one point the NDC or President Mahama will pause and say, Akufo-Addo, you did well in the bold fashion with which you took this on.
Which means what?
Even though I started it progressively, you took it on globally, universally. And that is what we have. We want to improve it. And not talk as if...
But no NDC person has criticized President Akufo-Addo for taking on or for implementing free SHS to cover all boarding students.
You don't hear anybody
what
giving
we have
him
said,
the credit he's due.
Oh, many NDC people,
okay.
even me.
So you hold on.
Record,
yes, Dennis.
who have said that by continuing that laudable policy that John Mahama started.
Okay, thank you.
He did the right thing.
Thank you. Yes.
What we are against has to do with
sorry, hold on, Sammy, hold on.
And the challenges that has led.
So, Dennis, I'm sure from where you sit, you followed the process, you listened, you watched from beginning to the end, and you have also followed the reviews, because you need to be sure that if they are going ahead of you, you are catching up. Or if they are doing something wrong, you are avoiding the wrong they are doing. What do you say about this interaction?
Samson, good morning, and good morning to Sami and our senior brother Kofi. The fact is that democracy in this country is really progressing. And I think that's very, very good for us as a people. That I think we have a very vibrant, thriving democracy, even though we criticize it and sometimes I think we are too hard on ourselves. That the opposition leader organizes the media and engages them. I mean, that's a very, very good thing. And that's something that should continue. I see Cheddar also doing the same. I've seen Alan Chemantin do a similar one. So I've seen a lot of other political leaders doing it, which is really good. Except that it's not just enough to have the occasion. Like Kofi said, well, maybe time. But I think the former president was too dodgy. He was dodgy of a lot of the questions and the issues. He tried to play around a lot of them. There are some questions that he didn't even address at all, which is fine. For me, I don't really want to hold him to that.
It shouldn't be fine. Give us an example.
One or two. He didn't answer Sewamihe's specific question as to whether, when he said that
you let NDC lawyers
is it a case that he's also trying to, I mean, he wasn't quite, I also think that the media president did a very good job. They asked him a lot of questions, which has actually brought up a lot of things that his own words are being played at him, and he's now trying to find some space to adjust. It's all good. What I think was missing was probing. Again.
Follow-up questions.
Exactly. Okay. Because, I mean, I watched from beginning to end. I would watch again tomorrow if he does it, because that is what democracy is all about. I have said and I have insisted that this 2024 elections is not going to be about emotions and about rants. It's going to be about the issues. Because thankfully, we have a population that, even if I cannot read, I have a child that has benefited from free secondary education and at least can read and decipher the issues and advise me. We are in the age of AI, fast-paced, social media. So people are a bit more discerning than we were in 1992 when it comes to electoral issues. So it's purely on issues. So I would watch again. And I feel that if the former president tells you, and he was quite emphatic, that I actually launched free SHS. I launched free SHS. And how can I be against something that I launched? And that one of his bases to support his position is that when you go on Google, you have his opponent saying that, or lauding him for launching free SHS. I think that, to be fair to the viewers, there should have been a follow-up question. Because Samson, I saw your face. You were there. I saw you. In fact, I have you on screenshot, which I showed 3 days ago. I saw you, and I realized that for a moment, you wish you had the opportunity to ask him.
Yeah, because my question, part of it was not fully answered.
Yes.
Because I had asked a question about what he has done and then what he would do.
Yeah.
Then he spoke about what he would do and not much of what he had done about what I had asked him about.
Exactly. So for me, and I don't want to really be taken out of context in this conversation. I have lauded him. The principle is good. We should encourage it and line up all the other political leaders to do similar ones.
So you're getting ready to do so?
I mean, engaging the media is just you talking to the people through these people. So the format doesn't have to be Kempisky with a big screen behind and with, a teleprompter and all of that. So maybe the format is what you will say, but otherwise, Dr. Bawumia engaged the media on December 4th.
Right. So, but Bawumia will not do this time.
We may.
Okay.
I mean, we are running a campaign, and we have a strategy. This is an opposition leader that was elected in May 2023, and he's having first media engagement a year and 2 months later. Bawumia was elected on November 4th. Let's be fair to him. He's just gone round the regions for the first time. He just started his constituency tour. You know, so I like it to put the issues into proper perspective. The fact that you've done yours a year and 2 months later, and all of a sudden you are calling me, who was elected barely 7 months, that because you've done yours, why didn't you do yours 7 months when you were elected? Why didn't you do yours 6 months when you were elected? So let's give ourselves, you know, let's be fair to all the political.
But Bawumia is rather calling for a presidential debate.
I'll come to that.
Okay.
I'll come to that. I mean, Dr. Bawumia on this tour, what we do is that after he engages the people, he places the same microphone that was placed for the media, and the people ask him questions. He's doing it today. He did it yesterday. He did it on the entire 16 regional tour, and the people ask him the questions. Remember the famous nursing trainee? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was one of the platforms. Right. So he's engaging the people, and they are asking him the same questions that the media would ask. When we are ready, based on our strategy and our timelines and our calendar, we would come and also do same, not necessarily going to Kempinski. You understand? And having a big screen. It could be in any format.
But the media would have done better research to be able to ask questions in a fashion that would be different from the ordinary person.
That cannot be entirely correct, and I'll tell you why. You met the artisans in a non-formal group in Koforidua. You can't ask better questions than them. They have associations. These are barbers associations.
Okay, that's different.
These are hairdressers.
You're correct about that.
You can't ask better questions. The nurse who asked Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia about his allowance, you can't ask better questions about the allowances than him. You get what I'm saying? So, I mean, Dr. Bawumia has made the trade union, like former president has done. You can't ask better questions than them. So let's also not mix up the issues. They are experiencing, you are going to research about them, and they are going to be asking questions about them. So the format, for me, is different. And we are not going to necessarily go and follow that format. I mean, we could do regional-based media engagement. You could do constituency-based media engagement. Nanado has been engaging the media severally. In fact, on all his regional tours, you know, he's the only president that for each of the years that he stayed in office, he does a national and nationwide tour. And anytime he goes, he engages the media and is beamed, you know, across the region and the constituency. So the format is what we can speak about. But it doesn't change the fact that we also have an opportunity to talk about the substance. I mean, the former president lied if he says that he launched free SHS. And that's a matter.
Progressively free,
no, he lied. SHS. Even that he lied. Except that if they had probed him, he would have explained what progressively free means. Because he announced that he was going to bring progressive free SHS in 2015. He did the announcement in 2014. That is what led Nanado to make that headline, which he referred to. So again, the Gen Z watching John Mahama, His Excellency, would have Googled and realized that he lied. Because the story was quite clear. The story was Nanado saying that if now the former president had recognized or seen the essence, or let me read quickly. The 2012 presidential candidate, Nanado says, the president's decision to implement free senior high school education in 2015, he was speaking in 2014, is good news for Ghanaians and should be welcomed. He says, in an interview with an Accra-based Oman FM, Nanado said if the president and his NDC government now considers free SHS education policy possible, then it's good for Ghanaians. I see this as good news. So this is when you announced. Then in 2015, everybody is looking forward to you making senior high school free. Only for us to wake up and realize that Imbo Bansa Nicholas, who is a day student at Kajaji Senior High School, is paying fees. We woke up to realize that Accra High School, which is a pure day school, no borders, are paying fees in 2015. In 2016, you realize that Aquinas Senior High School, that's a pure day school, are paying fees. In fact, the video is there where the Aquinas headmaster is sacking the students from writing exams. You have Otu Samuel paying school fees in 2016 as a day student. So clearly, what we need from former President Mahama is his definition. Then we would even understand whether we are debating with the right indicators or not. But based on what we experienced in 2015, if that is what he calls progressive free senior high school, then there is no debate. Because that is not what Nanado preached. What Nanado preached, which he fought against, is completely different from what he announced he would introduce. As a matter of fact, the former president paid 38 cedis of day student fees in 2015. 38 cedis. The day students ended up paying over 462 cedis. He paid 38 cedis. If that is the definition of free senior high school and progressive, which it could be, because he said it's progressive. So maybe this time I'm paying 38, another time I'll add 50. It's fair.
The fact about he initiating a policy in that direction.
So they are not the same policy.
Is a fact.
No, that policy is already enshrined in our constitution.
No.
So the point is that
our constitution has been in operation since 1993.
Absolutely.
So what I want to say here is, I just needed you to admit that fact, that there is a fact of a policy
announcement.
A policy
announcement
beyond announcement.
What did he do? The evidence, I have the
policy initiated for progressively free.
That is false. As a matter of fact.
Only announcement.
No, because I'm looking at a bill
for
St. Aquinas School in 2015. I mean, free means, and when you heard him, he said that he had already made day school free and had planned to enroll over 100 and something thousand bodies onto it. But day school wasn't free. This is the receipt. This is the bill. That is why I keep saying that let's separate the emotions and the rant from the fact. You can come back with another definition. And we would accept it. I would accept it. After all, he himself and some others had already experienced or enjoyed free senior high school way before the Constitution. So it's not as if it's something out of the blue. But the fact remains that Nanado in 2008 said that based on President Kufuor's decision to make basic education free, which had doubled enrollment, it's obvious that these people would need equal assistance at the senior high school to be able to get in. Otherwise, they will struggle.
He begins the argument by saying NDC midwifed, so to speak, the Constitution. And they put it there in the Constitution. So that was their intention.
Nobody is debating again. I want to contextualize my point. There are so many things in the Constitution that, I mean, didn't the Constitution say that we would realize true democracy when Ghana's governance becomes fully decentralized? Are we fully decentralized? Are we fully? No, let me make the point. We are not, so there are so many things in the Constitutions that need some enabling, which up to now we still haven't done. The fact is that Nanado Dankwa Akufo-Addo preached free senior high school, completely free senior high school for Ghanaian children as far back as 2008. The NDC, every functionary in the NDC, including the now General Secretary, former President Mahama himself, fought against it. And Samson, you see, this is a very important conversation. Now listen to this. The former president and his government says that the free SHS is not possible. In fact, the Minister for Education then, Leo Kran, emphatically said that if free SHS was that easy, Kwame Nkrumah would have done it. He's on video.
You're right.
In fact, he said that if it was that easy, Soviet Union would have implemented it. Now, Felix Kwachio Fusu, the aide to the former president, said that free SHS is a scam. It is nothing but a complete political gimmick. It doesn't make sense one bit. He's on video. The former president himself, and this is where it gets interesting, in the year 2016, this is supposed to be 2 years after he claimed he had introduced free senior high school, was on a political platform during the election campaign period and said, we are not going to implement free senior high school on the whimsical promises of a desperate politician.
Right.
Something that he claimed he had.
Yeah, so I understand.
Something that he claimed he had introduced.
Right.
He said he was not going to implement the same thing he had implemented.
Right.
So what I think he should have done is to say that, listen, I think that this thing that we spoke against, this thing that all of us fought against, they demonstrated against it, which is on video, they sponsored adverts against it, which is fact. This thing that our General Secretary said, it is nothing but an all-lie be-lie policy. We think that it has come to stay.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. Okay. And people are saying that when I come, I'll cancel it.
Right.
The reason why people are saying that when I come, I'll cancel it is simply this.
Okay.
All the things you said against it is evidence that you do not support it. Right. In fact, you are on record to have said that you believe some people should pay and others should not pay. So if you come and tell me that I will review, I will quickly go and reference your philosophy, your thinking around the policy. And my conclusion will be that, based on all the things you said, I can conclude that you have an intention to cancel it. Now, if you don't have an intention to cancel it, come and tell me what your position on free SHS is if I vote for you.
All right.
It is not enough when you tell me that. Yes. It is not enough when you tell me that I will review. Okay. Review is not a policy.
Thank you.
What is your position?
Thank you, Dennis.
SHS?
Thank you, Dennis. Look, I'm going to give you just 2 minutes of a rebuttal. Just 2 minutes.
Oh no.
We are not having a free SHS discussion. We have tabled a number of questions.
I know.
And we are assigning time to each of them.
I know, but education is important.
Because he did free SHS,
exactly.
he
So
exceeded the time. I allowed it because he needed to conclude in a nice way.
Samson.
2 minutes of a rebuttal, and then we move on.
Samson, this is Newsfile. This is, as you always say, the most authoritative political show in this country. Your viewers are very discerning. We are entitled to our opinions, but we are not entitled to our own set of facts. Everything Dennis Miracle Abuaje, my good brother, has said on this platform are bare-faced lies.
That's not correct.
I will demonstrate.
I can tell you that.
Number one, no, don't speak for him.
For example, hold on, but I'm a host.
But you're giving me just 2 minutes, and you want to share the 2 minutes with me?
Okay, see.
No, Samson, be fair to me.
When you gave me 1 minute, you thought you were giving me the whole time in the world.
I gave you about 5 minutes to talk. Samson, I beg you.
Listen.
Let's settle the issue. That's why people are watching.
Sammy, let's be careful about something.
All right.
To say that everything
he has said is a lie.
Don't repeat that.
Yes, I'm going to repeat that.
He mentions what Leo Kran said about free SHS. You can't contest that. He mentions what Fifi Kwete said about free SHS.
When I finish my response, ask me about Fifi Kwete and Leo Kran.
That is not incorrect.
Number one.
He has shown you a budget line. That is evidence. So please, let's choose our language.
Budget line of what?
He has shown you a document. If that's what you want to say.
He hasn't shown anybody a document. It
is because we can all take judicial notice of that.
Can I talk? Do I have the phone?
The issue is so popular that we don't need to say, show us the document.
All right. Samson, I am repeating.
So don't repeat it. Don't say everything he has said.
But allow me to make my point. Everything he has said
is not bare-faced lie. It is not.
Number one, he says that John Mahama only announced free SHS. He launched it through an announcement. He didn't implement it. That is what he's saying. Now, I have in my hand the last budget that was presented to Parliament for and on behalf of John Mahama.
I know about that.
The 2016 mid-year budget review, approved by both the NDC and MPP. This is an official document. Paragraph 109. This is what is contained there. Consistent with the 1992 Constitution, our commitment to make secondary education accessible, especially to needy students, the government initiated the implementation of progressively free secondary education in the first term of 2015-2016 academic year, with 320,488 day students in public senior high schools across the country. The program is to be expanded to cover 120,000 targeted boarding students in the 2016-2017 academic year. This is an official record.
Thank you.
It shows that beyond the announcement, there was implementation. And 320,488 day students in public senior high schools benefited. Now let me take you to the smoking gun. Your own budget, not one more.
One more. That will be the last point on which you conclude. We are not discussing
You are preventing me from exposing the lies. Because if you give me 5 minutes, everybody will know that everything is a lie.
Minutes, right?
Number two.
We will not do that.
I will expose it because they've been going around telling lies. We will not allow them to get away with that on Newsfile. Your show has integrity. This is paragraph 781. I'm giving you sources of official documents, not concocted documents. Paragraph 781 of the 2017 budget of Akufo-Addo read to Parliament by Ken Ofori-Atta.
Right.
This is what is there. Other social intervention in others. So let me start from 780 so that you know that he's talking about 2016. In the education sector, planned expenditure for 2016 was 6.9 million cedis, blah, blah, blah. So then he comes to paragraph 781, the next one. Other social intervention expenditures in the sector for the period under review included an amount of 71.9 million for the provision of subsidies to senior high schools, 25.96 million cedis for the implementation of progressively free SHS. This is Ken Ofori-Atta, your own finance minister.
All right.
Now, Samson, aside that, So clearly he lied. Look, it was on the 17th of September 2015 at Ekunfi Otuyam when President Mahama launched progressively free SHS and commenced its implementation. And that is why President Akufo-Addo lauded him. If you claim that President Akufo-Addo lauded him based on the near announcement, what about the United Nations? UNESCO also lauded.
President Mahama said that has not been challenged.
UNESCO lauded President Mahama in 2017 January after the implementation. So you lied again.
You, Sami.
Let me conclude.
Sami, please.
On the issue of Leocran and the rest. Listen, today in the NPP, there are people who have come out to say that free SHS is not working, like Kennedy Japan, who has said that he paid almost 10,000 cedis for a new entrant on prospectus alone. There are people like the finance minister who says that free SHS is not sustainable in its current form and that the rate should be allowed to pay. Is that the position of the government?
Definitely not.
You cannot cite the individual views. And the reason why those individuals even said that was because of what they said in opposition. The first advert they released on free SHS in 2008 said that free SHS, they created the impression that all you needed to do was to bath, go to school, and to be
Thank you, Sami.
You came and implemented free SHS progressively.
Thank you.
Starting with
Kofi, you hold on for me. I'll give you a minute, but hold on for me. If
you are told the people of this country that you were going to do it progressively with Form 1s and then expand it to Form 2, Form 3,
thank you.
Those people would not have made those comments then.
Thank you.
So context is important.
Dennis, in the next 2 minutes, I'll hold you to it. 2 minutes.
Samson, you see, I keep saying, 2024 is a different ballgame. A different period.
You guys, today you got me to activate my timer. Just the two of you.
Now, it's all a matter of fact.
Right.
And you see, it's not enough when you listen to yourself and set your own questions. You heard me say that, at best, the progressive free SHS that His Excellency Mahama implemented was 38 cedis for a day student. Did you hear that?
Yes, you limited it to his definition.
Exactly. So if you go and pick a budget, he should multiply.
That's why I insisted
he should divide. Yeah, because he's wrong. And here he is peddling false. Please. I beg you. When you were speaking, I was quiet.
Sami, please hold on.
I mean, you listen to yourself.
Go on.
I was quite specific, and I choose my words carefully. I don't just speak. When you hear me speak, I choose my words carefully. The budget line that you referred to is the 38 cedis that former President Mahama paid, and that is why in that year, which you claim, you launched free SHS for day students. For which reason you were even planning to bring on board these students. Day students of Aquinas, Accra High, and every day student in the year 2015 in Ghana received a bill of not less than 400 cedis and paid their school fees, including furniture fees, WASE registration, and what have you. Today, under...
Dennis, don't react to him. Go on.
So don't sit on TV and just peddle. Now, again, I did not claim that Nanado was lauding an announcement. Nanado's interview was with Fifi Boafo on Man FM in 2014. There was no free progressive, so-called progressive free.
As for that, you said that he was lauding the announcement.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
So it cannot be the case. So don't come and say he claimed that Nanado. The fact is that Samson, Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo launched free SHS. Former President Mahama should be magnanimous, including his spokesperson. It is completely disrespectful to the people of this country. It's an insult to every single poor child in this country. With all the things they said against free senior high school, did against it, including in the year 2016. What he said, now that is even not a worry. Even after free SHS had been implemented, former President Mahama said that it was going to collapse the Ghanaian education. He went on to even lambast the students of beneficiaries of this free SHS education. Then you come back in 2024. Good thing. You love it. You realize that the people love it and cherish it. So you want to now clinch on it for an election. Right. No problem.
Thank you, Dennis.
Tell the people that, you know what, I think the way this thing is being done, I have a much more improved way of doing it. And this is how.
Okay.
Listed it.
No, something. When you say review, it's a source of. It's review a policy.
Okay.
So that lack of respect for the people of Ghana, that attempt to steal a policy that you campaigned against, demonstrated against, and protested against, and then the confidence to even continue to sit on TV and peddle falsehood.
Thank you, Dennis.
It's most disrespectful to the people.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. You can't be replying everywhere.
No, I'm just giving you the receipt.
You can't do that.
Center Aquinas, go to the students. Yes, go to the yes.
You are lying.
Hold on. Aquinas secondary school. Is there a body school?
Where is the document?
Hold on. Is there a body school?
I cited official
Relax.
documents.
Calm down.
I gave you my reference.
Aquinas,
where is the documents?
The headmaster is on video. The headmaster of Aquinas is on video.
All students paying 400 CDs
yes,
in Ghana.
sacking students.
That's a bare fee.
You are a liar.
Stop lying.
A complete liar.
Sammy.
The headmaster of Aquinas on video. And you have the energy to sit on TV.
Claim that President Mahama only announced the policy.
And I want to refer to you as gentlemen. Gentlemen, stop this.
The budget.
Who do you think you're speaking?
Listen to me.
Open and shut documentation.
I'm sure you guys have an idea. The people who watch this show,
Stop interrupting me.
please show them respect.
Before I intervened.
Kofi, I said I was going to give you a minute.
Lying.
I'll give you 2.
Thank you.
It's unfortunate that because of your announcement of support for Bawumia constrains us to limit you. I know that beyond that, you are capable to do your independent analysis of
That's
things.
what I'll do.
But because of that, I'll give you only 2 minutes.
I hear you. Look, Samson.
You gave all
Hold on.
No. He spoke less than 4 minutes. You spoke 15 minutes. He did 15 minutes. You did 5 minutes. He just did 3 minutes extra.
So you are sharing the time for
Listen.
2 Bawumia representatives.
I can say that maybe Imani has researched free SHS than any other institution.
That's correct.
We have done all kinds of things around it. And this is what I want to say now. You should have a program on free SHS, then we'll go into the details.
It looks like it will be necessary.
Free SHS,
Dennis would love to have
as a concept, is in our constitution. All right? Now, when the MPP or Nana Akufo-Addo announced it as a flagship policy, and it became clear that it was a winner, NDC got serious about it. We were tracking. Then they made pronouncements about it and called it the progressively free SHS. After the announcement, NDC did not act decisively, nor fund it sufficiently, nor make any structural changes to implement even their progressively free SHS. That's the fact of NDC. So it went on like that. Then you have Nanado coming in. And when Nanado came in, they came in with bold policies and arrangements. Everything was going to be free, which we resisted. Not because we didn't like free SHS.
Especially when he began by fumbling on the cost. And we all attacked them here. Nana Kumia was here and tried to give some cost that didn't wash.
Yeah, the history is there. Yeah. And we did all those things and we said, look, the idea may be good, but the articulated program, the policy, the structures and things that you claim you are going to use. You're going to use Ghana Education Service, the Ministry of Education. We went on and said, it will not work as you intended. You have to do means testing and all kinds of things. But the NPP was decisive about it. They put budgets on it. They created systems to implement it, even if it was not going to be done well. That is where some of us had issues with people like NAPO. When we kept saying, this is state funds, you can't use it anyhow. So indeed, free SHS, most decisively, free SHS, in terms of implementation, and by the way, it has not been implemented optimally. As we speak, we need to go back and do it better.
Absolutely. So the NDC is right in saying that there's a need for a review.
Absolutely.
But Dennis is saying, tell us the specifics of the review that you do.
Hold on.
Abolition
from where I started, I just want to declare the main points. We said, and Honorable Kenneth repeated our words, there is a need for extensive review. But the point of who implemented free SHS, please, it was mentioned by NPP and then NDC Progressive, implemented by MPP, not to my satisfaction.
That's false.
But all of us have to sit down, whether it's an NDC government or an MPP government.
It's Ghana's money.
It's Ghana's money.
It's our money. It's not the politicians' money.
Last point.
Anyway,
last
yes.
point. The money we've spent on education is enough.
I'm sorry.
No.
Please. The money we spent on education, the money we spent on education is enough to educate all our children.
I'm not speaking.
Don't do that. It's not right. It's not fair. Don't do it.
Samson, the money we spent on education is enough to educate all our children properly if it's not being wasted and stolen.
All right.
So we need to get back and
thank you.
A success of it.
Thank you. And this is where we take a break. And this is where we take a break.
When I've read the budget,
when we return,
kind of for
budget implementation.
2017 budget.
Me be the makasa chen wo dem tunufo. Enzo ma men kan chao. Emma Dr. Bawumia nunu ho se wo yi wo.
Ghana ha yechichi Ghana abakosoma. President Kufuor to call retirement. Not even the Mr. Case who said a free style yechichi Ghana from 1957. Ebe kane yenya president bi awabua Ghana chen na do Dr. Kufuor.
The amount of them in feel na do Dr. Kufuor. Not kind cheap. You beat me our Ghana. Empo, the Bokaya, they are doing response. They visit Ghana 1957 from Bamako. Ever can a Benjamin no way to my chain and I'm
One for baby out. 2 for 1 for baby.
We are back. Right. So, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, now it's official. He is the running mate to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the pair they call the perfect pair for the NPP's ticket for 2024. He appears to be visiting palaces. And some say there's an understanding because he's a royal. And he began from home, Manhyia. That's where he's from. And as a royal, they needed to do this nicely. And you heard Otumfuo speak. The focus, after his outdooring, unfortunately, has been about something he himself now apologizes. Initially, he said he was taken out of context or he was misrepresented. But he has come subsequently to say he's sorry. Who is he sorry to? He says he didn't mean to disrespect the former president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, or any of our former heads of state, including his own grand uncle and mentor, John Ejekum Kufuor. It appears he realizes that he had not only attempted to demean even Kufuor or people of his own tradition. Let's begin with Kofi Bentil. And Kofi Bentil says Bawumia is a ticket, the best ticket.
Yep.
He has said NAPO may need some bit of, working on in the manner he speaks, but he agrees to the perfect pair. Dr. Atta Kennedy and several others. Dr. Atta Kennedy was on this show last week and said, this is advice to the NPP. You actually also agreed to that advice, that they should be watchful how he communicates.
Yeah.
Do you find that even on the first day of his job, he's attracting negative energy? to the ticket.
No question about that. That was an unforced error. It was an unnecessary mistake. It was the weakness of NAPO coming to the fore. And this is what people have been talking about. So look, it was bad, period. It was a negative. It was baggage that he shouldn't have. The only thing is that it's come up at the first place, so maybe he should deal with it. But again, you see, last week's discussion, I said something which many people mistook. I said, if after decades of NAPO's politics, the biggest problem people cite about him is that he's arrogant, then the positive is that maybe he's effective. I didn't mean arrogance was positive. Then I said, if somebody calls you arrogant in this country, check yourself, because it is not really the dictionary definition of arrogance. It may be all kinds of different things. One of those things is indiscretion. So the question, people say, we told you he's arrogant, you see he's arrogant. Was that arrogance? Was it arrogance to mention Kwame Nkrumah and say the things that you said? Your Kwame Nkrumah. Now, hear me carefully. For me, that was not arrogance. It was politically inappropriate. It was emotionally unintelligent and strategically inept.
How else do you tell that someone is arrogant?
So, wait, you see, the point I want to make is, let's not be fixated about arrogance. Let us go to the actual situation and deal with it. What NAPO did weakens his friends and strengthens his enemies. It has nothing to do with arrogance. It is strategically inept. Okay? It is emotionally unintelligent. Kwame Nkrumah is the greatest African of the last millennium, the best leader we have ever had, the one man who could have been president of the United States of Africa. How do you take him on in those terms?
The man who epitomizes the philosopher king.
You can say
what should have been the ideal for a leader of any country.
That man did not have a vice president. He ruled this country with his little finger. He did all those things that he did within that space of time and didn't leave any property for his children. Look, we can go on and on and on, but my point is, if you just say NAPO is arrogant, you have missed the point. For me, this is serious. And that is why...
So will this hurt the Bawumia campaign?
I've said it. It weakens his friends and strengthens his enemies. Who has said anything about NAPO or the speech apart from this one? Okay. So look, like I said, the decision is for Vice President Bawumia to take. And he had a lot of time. To the extent that it was his prerogative, he didn't make a mistake.
Do you find that even when Otumfuo says, I don't know you to be arrogant, you've not been brought up, that's not the way I brought you up, and then still said, I've had conversation with you in the closet, and then he still comes forward to say it. It's as if he wants to be careful. And then he says, but if the people are saying this, be watchful.
Yes. There's a statement, there's a phrase called putting your foot in your mouth. You can Google it and see. That's the problem. And sometimes people can't help themselves. People will tell you that if you are close to NAPO, you will not sense this arrogance people talk about. But it comes across that way.
There are others who will tell you differently. If you are close to him, you will confirm that it's worse.
My father told me something many years ago. I've never forgotten. He says, if 2 or more people tell you the same thing about yourself, it is true. Check it. You may not like it.
That's Bible.
Oh, fine. But let's move. So my point
is... The testimony of 2.
The matter is established.
I think it's established.
So what I'm saying is this. For me, I'm looking for effective leaders for this country. Now, arrogance doesn't work well in Ghanaian politics. Now, whether NAPO is arrogant or not, he has to deal with it. What I'm worried about is, even if you are arrogant, you should not be making emotionally unintelligent.
Okay, so let's move away from arrogance now. Let's move away from arrogance now. He comes because he says he's sorry. He's regretted it. He's hurt people. Yes. It should be let go.
It's quite offensive.
The CPP issued a statement. Several other people have told how they are disgusted about it. So we should ignore his defense that he tried to put up. Now, what do you think? After his outdooring, he appears to be visiting, royal homes, so to speak. How central is that as a strategy to their campaign?
Listen, Ghana is a democracy, and our kings and chiefs are not supposed to be in mainstream politics. But if you're a politician in this country and you belittle the institution of chieftaincy, you just shot yourself in the foot. If you're a politician in this country and you don't understand the power, I'm talking about real power, that people like that Anyenini wields, you are joking. So he starts from somewhere, and as a royal, it is proper that he starts from the palaces. Let's see where he goes from here. So that, absolutely correct. And when people complain about NAPO and everything, look, one of the problems of MPP is that their base is demoralized, and they may not get people coming out to vote in the kind of numbers they want. NAPO is the one man that can change that. So when he's done, you may not hear him, see him go out and do all kinds of things generally and broadly. But I think if he gets his strategy well or right and manages to get the MPP faithful, their base, to come out and vote, you will see what will happen. So as far as I'm concerned, it is Vice President Bawomia's choice. He's made his choice. He knows why. I think he also knew the weaknesses of NAPO. And like I'm saying, it come out on the first instance. But for me, to just tag it as arrogant is just belittling the matter. In other senses,
there
it's more
are
serious.
there are those who also put a bit of an
doing.
emphasis on what he talks about and refers to Professor Milton and say, I do with fear, oye. So he tells the people that I'm one of your own. And people suggest that's getting to tribalistic, ethnocentrism. Where do you stand on that?
It sounds tribalistic. Again, if you're a political strategist and you don't understand the role of regional balance, what we call tribalism in this place, you are joking. Even in the US, where they don't have tribes, they always have regional balance. You pick somebody from here, then you pick somebody from that side. Now, one of the problems that the NPP has, apart from its base, is Kumasi. It's Ashanti, where its stronghold is supposed to be. And they're having a lot of problems in Ashanti, from Adanchemanti issues and all the things that everybody knows. NAPO is the perfect plug to solve that problem. And if he's a politician and knows what he's doing, he should quickly connect to his people at that level. Right. So look, political strategy has all kinds of aspects to it. And for me, I think I am watching closely. NAPO made a mistake in terms of mentioning Kwame Nkrumah in that light, but in terms of connecting to his people and saying that I'm one of you, absolutely solid political strategy.
Right, Dennis, the thing to look out for as people who have watched the politics and the campaigns, we're getting into the silly season, so to speak, is now to begin to figure out what is this strategy? What is it with NAPO in there and going to chiefs?
Okay, so Samson, first of all, let me say emphatically that NAPO is not arrogant. You don't tell or mention people's character for them to be. You experience it. You live it. And for anybody you hear say NAPO is arrogant, by the time you trace back the person, you realize that he's only feeding on the public conversation and hasn't really worked with him. As a matter of fact, ever since NAPO was mentioned, almost every single individual that has worked with him has come out to say, no, this is a good choice, based on my experience. And these are not politicians.
Have you heard any of Bawumia's critics say Bawumia is arrogant? Anything close that Bawumia is arrogant? Have you ever heard that?
But I've heard the critics call Bawumia other names.
So he may have done certain wrongs. He may have done things they don't like, but they never say he's
saying
arrogant.
that I've heard the critics call Bawumia names that are not true.
The point is that it cannot be said that NAPO does some wrong and people interpret that to be arrogance.
It is possible. We've had people call politicians a lot of things that they are not. This is politics. Remember, since we started our presidential primaries, people had always gone and knew and predicted who the running mate was going to be. I mean, actually, that is the case. NAPO has unfortunately been warned, and that's something that the NDC have done very, very well. Because see, I read Professor Samuel Betbuedi-Kusi, the professor the Dean for International Affairs in the University of Cape Coast. He was the secretary to UTAG the time NAPO was minister. And this is what he says about him. I have known and worked with Honorable Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh. I got close to him during my time as the National Secretary of UTAG. He's such a fine, humble, and competent gentleman. If you get close to him and listen to his words carefully, he's such a fine, humble, and competent gentleman. If you get close to him, you will get to know that he is down to earth with a great sense of humor and has very good interpersonal skills. He is a great manager, a visionary, and a doer. He is compassionate and does not discriminate. During his reign as the Minister for Education, he had an excellent relationship with unions and his charisma. Always curbed intended strike actions. He speaks his mind and is forthright. He speaks his mind and is forthright. He solves problems and is a mentor. He is one of the best ministers Ghana has had as a Minister for Education. I have no doubt about his leadership qualities. And I wish him well as he begins his campaign for the 2024 presidential campaign. Now listen, I am MPP, I've been in MPP, I have never seen Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh exhibit any form of arrogance. Anybody I've heard say NAPO is arrogant is somebody that has never worked with NAPO. Never. I have listened to NAGRAT's leadership, I've listened to NAT, I've listened to professors of the universities, professors who worked in the sector, and it is evidenced. And you heard the professor say that he always curbed strike actions. In fact, during the entire period of NAPO being Minister for Education, he had the least labor unrest that Ghana has ever seen in the education sector. An arrogant minister can never achieve this. Never. The way labor unions operate and their modus operandi, if you're arrogant, you cannot survive them.
You hear what the intelligentsia, the intellectuals say about him when he was seeking to introduce that bill to clip the wings of the university.
So it is about it's about getting the conversation, like the professor said. It's about the engagement. He's forthright.
You are forthright, are you not?
I am.
You speak your mind.
I have a lot of people who actually assume that I am arrogant, but I'm a pure Ekuapim bred.
I haven't heard it said of you that you are arrogant.
I have people even in my WhatsApp.
I haven't heard it said of Sami that he's arrogant.
I have heard people say, I have heard people say Sami is arrogant. I've heard people say I am arrogant. I have heard it. Really? And I'm telling you about my own personal testimony people have given. You don't doubt that. And that is natural. But that's even beside the point. The fact is that NAPO has suffered that false start of being won a kaba and slit of arrogance by the opposition party. Because all the professors and people who have worked with him, they say different things. The guy is competent, he's a doer, he's a go-getter, he's humble. When we worked with him, he's respectful, he engaged us properly, and we got results. He has this big task of removing this kaba and slit from himself. Unfortunate, but that is politics. The very moment you got ready to be named as a running mate, you should be ready for it. Remember when Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was accused in Parliament of having 3-4 wives, and a woman's name was even mentioned to be his wife? You have to deal with these things. One thing that I have said and consistently told anybody that has called me is that you don't tell people who somebody is. People experience him. NAPO has started his campaigning. He is on the ground. He's engaging the people. And by the time July ends and we enter August, the people of Ghana will know what Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh is made of. And I can tell you without any doubt that the true nature of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh that the people will know from experiencing him would be all the testimonies that the people he has worked with, the professors, including even the energy sector. Ask Senior Jose, your friend. Ask all the people in the sector. They will tell you about the character. They may disagree on issues. They will disagree on the policies and all of that. But the character, all of them have attested that the gentleman is a go-getter, he's a doer, he's assertive, he's forthright, he's a team player,
he's dealt with most vice chancellors. They don't say the same of him.
Now, this issue of Tuesday's Kwame Nkrumah's comment.
Your Kwame Nkrumah.
I have a view, to be very honest with you, that now people are watching NAPO with a much more critical eye than they would watch any politician in the light of arrogance.
So there's a benefit.
There is a big disadvantage there. So now even how he walks may be a problem. We may begin to see people show videos of what he's even wearing and describing it as arrogance. Now NAPO cannot make a mistake by even not seeing a chief coming from behind him and say that, oh, I didn't see you, sorry, let me rise up. It will be interpreted. So that is a cross he has to bear. But these crosses, they don't last. You can't lie on somebody's character. It's just a matter of time. The people would experience him themselves.
But this time has been for years now.
No, it's not. This is the time that he is going to be the number 2 gentleman of our land. He's going to campaign to be a running mate. He has never come to my hometown, Latte. Today, he will get to come there. He has never been to Kukua in Ayesuano. Today, he will get to go there. So it will not take Sami Jemfi or anybody to say he's arrogant. The people would have experienced him themselves. Oh, trust me, by September, what you hear is that, oh, send up on Ukraino.
Where has it been? Where has he been after mention?
But Samson, what I know, having worked with NAPO in this party all over the years, supports the assertion and the testimony that all the people he worked with in the education sector are saying. And you underrate NAPO and his political influence at your own peril. It's just a matter of time.
Where has he been after?
He's been in the western and the western north.
Okay.
Engaging the people.
He didn't go to Nalergo?
No.
Okay.
He's taking a different arm of the campaign.
I was in Tamale and I was aware there was a presence.
He's taking a different arm of the campaign, and he's going to stay in the communities. We should expect to see more of him in our communities, engaging the people and having conversations with the people. That is what we are going to experience. And then we would see whether this by force arrogance, an arrogant person doesn't easily apologize like NAPO has done. Listen, you know that there are people who have actually made similar and worse comments on this Nkrumah matter. I have screenshots here. I don't want to go too much into it because it may seem like a justification. But I have a chief here, and you can look at it.
Very many people.
Who have actually said that Manhyia is better than. In fact, they said that Manhyia is greater than Nkrumah. But nobody held up to the chief. You know why? Because he's not NAPO.
The manner it was said.
No, not necessarily.
That makes the biggest difference.
Nobody has held the chief because he's not NAPO, and there's no crystal microscope on him. The national organizer of the NDC actually said it
NAPO is not saying this for the first time. You know, right? People know.
But why?
That is not the first time.
If we want to go into the substance,
so it means it's in his
If we want to go into the substance, why? I'm not a fan of Nkrumah. I'm a political science student. I studied Nkrumah in detail.
Okay,
so that's why I'm saying don't let us digress.
Right. Okay.
Because I am not. You can't force me to be a fan of another political leader.
Okay.
There are people who disagree with Kufuor.
All right.
Does it mean that these people are bad people? Isn't Kufuor equally a hero?
Thank you.
Isn't Dankwa and Buzia and Co. all people?
Thank you. So
don't let us even go into that line. NAPO has apologized.
Right.
And I tell Samson, please let me land on this. NAPO has apologized. And I think that it shows the way. It actually even tells you the character that is made of. It actually re-emphasizes the point that a lot of these
a lot of pressure.
No, there wasn't a lot of
pressure. No, the apology came after a lot of pressure.
No, it's unfair.
He went defending.
No, he didn't. You see, I can replay what he said. That's what he said. My statement last Tuesday, 9 July in Kumasi on the performance of president has elicited varied reactions. The statement reflects my personal opinion about President Kufuor's impact relative to other presidents we've had in the past. I wish to emphasize that I never meant to disrespect our former president, not Dr. Kwame Nkrumah or his own grandfather. He's never done any such thing. Okay. In fact, what he did in the Western region was to basically make the point that I was only trying to compare what I think my government, which I'm part of, has done against what other government has done. Nobody gave him room to even make the point in terms of what he means. You understand? So he hasn't justified it. What NAPO has done is to come back and apologize for whatever discomfort his comment would have caused. And I think that for anything at all, let's give him credit because we've seen leaders, including former President Manhyia, make worse comments to Ghanaians, and he hasn't even had the cause to even think that he needs to come to apologize. So that alone is leadership and maturity that he has shown.
Thank you. So, Sami, you, the guys in the NDC, and the many people on social media, whether they are NDC or not, what is it that you see about NAPO that the NPP guys don't see?
Well, the two of them have had 17 minutes to speak, so I know, I trust that you'll be very fair with the time allocation. Now, Samson, I can understand why my two brothers in the studio are trying very hard. In fact, I don't envy them at all, because they are trying very hard to market a candidate who is not marketable.
And that's what you pray for.
And to defend the indefensible. To project a person who is innately arrogant as humble. I can understand, because that is what they have been recruited to do. These are the communicators and marketers of Bawumia's campaign. So what do you expect? But you see, they can bath NAPO with all the water in the sea. They will not be able to rid him of arrogance because he's innately disrespectful, condescending, and arrogant. Character, they say, is like pregnancy. You cannot conceal it. It will come out no matter what you do to try to conceal it. I am surprised that the two of them will suggest that this arrogant tag on NAPO is the creation of the NDC. Really? Over the last few days, the people who have come out to express their revulsion at those at the condescending commentary NAPO made against Kwame Nkrumah in Kumasi, are they NDC people? I'm asking you.
Of course not.
Journalists, your colleagues who work here and in other media organizations, chiefs, historians. So they are all NDC people. You see, you are not helping the man when you come and sit on TV and you try to justify his sins when you yourself know that what he has done is wrong. You are not helping him. Why? Is it the NDC who told NAPO to insult diploma teachers as daft and unintelligent? Is it the NDC who told NAPO to tell Ghanaians who were legitimately demanding a doomsday timetable so that they can at least plan their lives, to go and prepare their own timetables because they were nation wreckers, like NAPO said to Ghanaians? We in the NDC, were we the ones who told him to say that? Were we the ones who told him to make divisive and ethnocentric comments against the people of Volta region, particularly those in the Keita enclave, that if government made an allocation in its budget to address the problem of tidal waves in that enclave, he was going to lead Ashantis in Kumasi to protest against them?
So he didn't make derogatory comments about them.
Yes.
You just said he made derogatory comments about them.
What can be more derogatory?
He said there are other people who have a need.
Yes.
So if you are going to do it, then you must do it for all, not for only those there.
Oh, so
he didn't denigrate
so the many times that we have taken public funds, okay, GMPC funds for I'm with you for repaying the chief of Akufo-Addo's hometown. Did you hear NAPO coming to say that there are other chiefs? So GMPC money should be shared to all chiefs. Why is it that when it came to the turn of Voltarians, this man said, if you try, because these are citizens, they pay taxes, Samson, and they are victims of a natural disaster, tidal waves from the sea. And MPs in parliament, their representatives, were making a legitimate demand for government to make a budgetary allocation for that. And this man says, if you try that, why? Are the people of Kumasi suffering from any tidal wave disaster? So how can such an allocation be made for them? That argument doesn't even make sense.
In fact, my view is that they are not victims of a natural disaster.
Yes.
They have suffered because of the negligence of those who are supposed to manage the situation.
Yeah.
And those managers ought to be held accountable.
I agree.
They must pay.
I agree, and I'm sure you are talking about that man-made dam spillage disaster.
You know, now there's another one coming.
Yes.
See how they are going about it. That's what they should have done in the first place.
Yes. You see, you are energy minister. There is doom, so people are suffering. They ask you for a common timetable, and you tell the journalist that go and prepare your own timetable. When this man in opposition joined the doomsday must end, have you seen the speech he delivered there?
Yeah, we played.
Have you seen the tonation? And people are defending him that it is we in the NDC who are branding him arrogant. Can anybody brand Kufo as arrogant? The tag will not stick. Just like the arrogant tag Miracles is trying to foist on Mahama, who cannot stick because everybody knows him to be a perfect gentleman, a humble leader. So please stop this. We are not the ones who told NAPO to tell poor and suffering SHS students that they should count themselves lucky that they can defecate in black polythene bags. Neither were we the people who told NAPO to come and sit in the studios of Asempa FM here and say that it was Mahama, lie against Mahama, a former president, that he was the one who bashed students and parents to go and fake fainting at the Independence Square. Let the man carry his own cross. This is what he is. And as I told you, you can bath him with all the water in the sea. You can't rid him of this. Look, if he was not innately disrespectful and arrogant, How can your own king, the Otumfuo, advise you in the full glare of the public? The fact that he even chose to advise you in the public after he says he advised you in private should tell you what he thinks about you. Then, it was not even an hour. Few minutes after, even as he was entering the grounds, there is an MPP apparatchik who works at the presidency. They call him Boya. Boya was giving NAPO fans. He was trying to get close. I'm sure you've seen the video. In the full glare of the public, NAPO said, "Get out, go away." We saw that in the video.
We didn't hear what he said, but we heard him.
You saw the gesture,
shouting at him,
and we know in our culture
he was not happy about what the guy was
that
doing.
gesture meant something. No leader who has the decency and maturity required to lead will do that in public.
He's human. He should get angry when someone is doing something wrong against him.
Not every human being can be a vice president. For you to occupy such a prestigious high office, you cannot just say, "I am human."
So what? He
there
should,
is a certain
he should
pretend. So you are human, so you can sit in parliament and do this to your colleague MP and say you are mad. You can do this in parliament. You are human, so you can stand on a political platform and say you are Nkrumah. The man who gave us independence, the man who carved out what we know to be Ghana today, the man who has been elected as the greatest African of the millennium, the man who built the KNUST you attended, built all the major public universities in Ghana, UCC, University of Ghana, University of Winneba, the man who built the Tema Township, the Tema Harbour, the Tema Motorway, the Kosovo Dam, which till today is the bulwark of our power sector.
Things, the way you, the politician,
you call that man
build it with your
Nkrumah? No, he built it for Ghana.
Okay.
He built it for Ghana. You are comparing him to a man who has plunged this nation into bankruptcy. The Akufo-Addo, who under him Ghana cannot pay its debts. The Akufo-Addo, who can only boast of the biggest pit in the whole world, $58 million sunk into a fraudulent cathedral project. The Akufo-Addo, who oversaw the closure of the Kolebu Renal unit for close to 4 months over government's indebtedness of 4 million cedis, leading to the avoidable debt of over 17 Ghanaians. You are this is an unforgivable sacrilege. Nobody does that. And when people were telling him that he was wrong, he went to Nkrumah's hometown. Look at how insulting this is. He goes to Nkrumah's home region, the Western region, doubles down on his reckless, irresponsible comment, and actually robs it in the faces of the people of that region. And because of the revulsion the people
told the chiefs there, he said, "You have not brought me up to be arrogant.
Were they the ones who brought him?
I am being assertive.
Yes.
And I'm being a truth teller, and people hate that kind of posture."
So that is what shows that NAPO has not apologized. That is my position. This statement, which has been issued per my intel, was issued by the campaign team without his knowledge.
No, you can't say that.
Let me tell you,
you can't say that. You can't say that.
The comments in question was made by NAPO orally on the campaign platform. He few days, in fact, the day after he went to the Western region, repeated it. That, look, I'm not a coward.
No, he didn't repeat it.
He defended it. What about that? He doubled down on it, said, "You didn't raise me as a coward. I'm truthful."
So he defended it. He defended it in a context.
Yes,
he defended it in a context.
That he spoke the truth. He said that by saying you're Nkrumah, and that Anado is better than Nkrumah.
He didn't repeat by saying you're Nkrumah.
Oh, Chief,
let's be careful.
The differentiation? Why do you want to do the differentiation?
See what I mean when I say you strengthen your opponents? You are strengthening your opponents.
So the man is not remorseful. Anybody who knows NAPO will tell you he's not remorseful.
Okay.
No, please, you give them ample time.
No.
Let me wrap up. Be fair to me. You gave them 17 minutes.
You have.
Be fair to me.
You have spoken.
I beg you.
I'm not going to give you 17 minutes.
Oh, senior.
Okay.
You know that on that very platform, the condescending and insulting comment he made, right? I've had 9 minutes. You've had 17 minutes.
You have long had 10 minutes.
Now,
both of us had 17.
Sorry, let me finish.
Sorry.
You have a minute.
On that same platform, Samson, you know that NAPO didn't only insult Kwame Nkrumah and the people of this country. He insulted caterers and teachers. He said that there is abundance of food under Akufo-Addo, such that today caterers are stealing food belonging to children. And that under Akufo-Addo there has been no hunger. Really? Where is this man from? Is he living in the same country we call Ghana, where we all live?
If caterers have been stealing some of the food in the schools, he shouldn't
Where is
say
it? Have you seen the documentary that this station has done on the kind of food our children are eating? You see stew.
That doesn't mean there are bad nuts within the
So if
caterers.
the former minister of education comes to tell you that food is in abundance, when day in, day out, headmasters are complaining about the inadequacy of food.
But I don't think
and
he
the poor quality of
generalized
food.
the comment for you to say he has insulted caterers.
No, caterers are not even paid. So you don't come and insult their intent. They are not stealing food. It's not true. They are not stealing any food.
Oh, really?
Then he insulted us again by saying that there is no doomsaw. Samson, is there doomsaw or no doomsaw? Samson, you are very bold though. You are telling us, citizens, to be proactive, to demand accountability. Is there doomsaw or no doomsaw? And you have this man, Kofi Bente, is there doomsaw or no doomsaw? You went for doomsaw demonstrations.
Google doomsaw.
And you.
If you ask me,
let me answer. It was a rhetorical
Google doomsaw
rhetorical
and check
question.
the definition of doomsaw. When you finish,
rhetorical.
compare it to what has just happened.
Well played. You've done your job. You've done your job. This is what he's paying.
Google the word doomsaw.
Let me conclude.
Sammy, thank you.
They interjected. Let me conclude. I'm saying that, look, the apology is not sincere.
Yeah, I have my time. We all have the same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
You spoke for 17 minutes. Don't be G3 when I'm speaking.
Sammy, finish. And you are
the apology
here.
was not sincere.
You are stopping here. Yeah.
This is not the first time he has insulted the people of this country, and this will not be the last time. And the reason why it will not be the last time is because of people like you, who, though you know the right thing, will come and sit in studios like this and defend the wrong thing.
All right, thank you.
Continue to display arrogance.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. There was an aspect, we can be very brief about it, that in this process, now Bamia is saying, let's have a debate. That's where I want us to go to. Let's have a debate. We almost missed that. We have one more subject,
I know,
which we have to be limited. We have to be careful with our time so we can make at least brief comments about that.
To the viewers. You know, when the subject
brief means 2 minutes each.
I beg you.
Oh,
I sat down.
I'm not coming back to you. coming back to you.
So I heard Sammy speak, and I like what he did.
You're being honest today.
What he did is that for the first time, I've actually heard the NDC now try to really define and put into proper perspective why they call NAPO arrogant. And I like it. So he speaks of a doomsaw interview where NAPO said, go and prepare your own doomsaw. Fine. And then he says that his basis is that we had doomsaw, and so you have to bring it. We haven't forgotten about the July 7, 2016 Daily Graphic publication, where the same question was put to former President Mahama to actually declare load shedding, and he said he wouldn't, even though there was doomsaw. Next level. You remember when former President Mahama told the people of this country in faraway Botswana, you're disrupting me, I beg you. Faraway Botswana, he looked into the camera and told the labor unions of this country that I have seen so many strikes in my time as president. I've seen so much that strikes don't mean anything to me. It's on video. I can share the video with your producers to play. And that how I feel now is like they say in a Akan adage. It's like a dead goat. He's not afraid of a knife. I don't know whether there is any precedent that has ever made such an arrogant.
Well, he was voted out of power.
No, we'll get there. We'll get there. Relax. We'll get there. Calm down. Secondly,
how many minutes each?
We are done. You are not coming again.
Former President Mahama.
We are done. You are not.
Told the people, Sammy, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?
Because
former President Mahama, I sat down
to interrupted you. Nobody interrupted you.
Sammy,
8 minutes.
We take a break here.
Samson, you can't do that.
You know I respect you. I love you. I love you, and I respect you. No. You ran that off. Sammy.
This is Newsfile, it's the most authoritative news analysis platform. And here on Newsfile, we put Ghana first. It's brought to you by the kindest sponsorship of Bank of Africa, strong as a group and close as a partner. MTN everywhere you go. Ashesi University, educating ethical and entrepreneurial leaders for Africa. Robert & Sons Optical Services, your comprehensive eye care service provider for 33 plus years. My Way Insurance, dial *165# on MTN to join My Way today. Syntex tanks, it's strong, it's durable. Flamingo paints, simply superior. So let me state this. and forgive us, our audience, we are unable to deal with the very final topic that we slated, and which is actually the main reason we have Kofi Bentil here, because Kofi Bentil is lawyer for the IGP in that matter, in which the Speaker has referred the report of Parliament's committee that investigated the matter to the President, and we're seeking to ask the question, what will become of this report if eventually it's still the buck stops with the President? Right, so Dennis, let's hear you.
My thoughts are disrupted, but I'll try and pick them up. Sometimes Sami puts himself into his own trap, and then later it almost makes me feel like I'm bullying him. And that's wrong and unfair to him.
He does that to me to suggest that I'm stifling him, I'm not giving him time.
He's hanging himself. He's committing suicide. This morning he's committing suicide himself.
Yeah, so
Samson, you are the one who have decided to go ahead and define what you mean by arrogance on NAPO. I didn't do that. I have always been wondering why you call him that way since you've never worked with him. But you've defined it and given several comments and things NAPO has said in the past. I am simply humbly asking, have we ever had a former president or any politician, a president in this country, throw off the country and say, even though we are in an energy crisis, I will not declare a load shedding? That was Manhyia. Manhyia actually stood in front of a camera and told the labor unions and workers of this country that he has seen too many labor unrest and strikes in his lifetime as a president. And so now he almost feels like he's a dead goat. Manhyia specifically told medical professionals in this country that he is not ready to negotiate with them when they were calling for an improved service conditions in the midst of hardship. Manhyia looked in the eyes of poor people in this country, reduced their allowances when they came begging and said, we beg you. This is what we use to support our children to go to the colleges, nursing and teacher colleges. Please restore it. He said, if I have to restore this nursing and teacher training colleges allowance for you to vote for me, then vote against me.
So they voted against
Manhyia, please.
And you, the politicians, know as a matter of fact that these allowances that you are promoting are not sustainable within your government.
Not you.
It's
let the voter determine.
He's from Zimbabwe. He's not a Ghanaian voter.
Samson, why?
You are from Zimbabwe.
Why are you doing this?
No, Samson.
He's the host, not you.
It is
now, Manhyia told the people of Ashanti region.
Give me my bite.
Ashanti region, and I have it. Since he's referring us to Google, this is Ghana Web. He said, if we build roads with gold, Ashantis won't appreciate.
It's a lie. How? Never said that. Stop lying. Samson.
Samson here.
Number one.
Samson, read it.
Let me never said that.
Oh my God. Please. Let me go ahead. I'm not done. Why are you disrupting me? Why are you disrupting me?
Severally. And Kofi Bentil knows.
Oh, Sam, you have to behave.
Manhyia's dead.
You are misbehaving. It's not your turn.
Dead goats.
You are misbehaving. It's not your turn. It's not your turn. You are misbehaving. You are misbehaving. It's not your turn.
But he was going to remain.
I will have my.
Go ahead. Don't allow him.
Again.
Stop.
How do I go ahead?
Samson,
you are disrupting it. You are disrupting it.
And you don't want to give me any time to make a rebuttal.
Anything about
but at least I have a right to complain.
Every take that right from
you.
Watching
you are being
I don't have a right.
unfair. You are disrupting the show.
Don't I have a right to complain?
Can you relax?
I relax for you to put out
There's something. Just discharge me. And let him have all the time. Because you can't do that.
You can Google all the
give him all the time and say you won't give me any time to make a rebuttal.
Manhyia showed us the way. Google. If we build roads with gold for Ashantis,
it's a lie. It was never
Ghana
said
Web,
by President Manhyia.
Ghana Web,
I will not sit here
6
for you.
May 2014.
It's still there on the page.
It's still there.
Yeah, go ahead.
You open it, right?
It is a
do you confirm it's still there?
Awesome. Chief.
Why are you doing this?
Go and build.
Why is this gentleman behaving this way?
After
Akufo-Addo was the one who told the people of Kwame.
After President Manhyia made these comments you referred to.
After he made these comments you referred to. Last example.
Have you heard him being referred to as arrogant?
Last example. Now, Boya, you referred to a certain Boya. First of all, it wasn't Boya in that video. Secondly, that Boya never works anywhere close to the presidency. Number 3, let me remind him, and he's giving examples of a definition of arrogance. Now, you had former President Manhyia being on a campaign trail, speaking, and being disrupted, but Sami Jefi is disrupting this show this morning. One of his own party members
protesting unfair allocation of time. That is what I'm doing.
Now, the president who was asking for their vote
I will not even worry.
Says that now why no. So
we are We are in the you do.
No.
That's what you're
we
doing.
are in an intellectual
organization.
And John Mama insulted
No, please, I'm not done.
Thank
Don't
you.
do that.
Thank you.
Now, Samson, I will conclude. I will have to conclude because it disrupted me.
You are done. The time is
the
finished.
intellectual discourse period where you bring a definition of what arrogance is.
I know
and
what
I show you
so
the exact
the last
example.
Minute, nobody will get to you.
No, then I show you an exact example of what Mahama also said in the past.
So end with us in this.
Under John Mahama,
What's
we have countless of load shedding timetables. So anybody who says that John Mahama insulted Ghanaians over load shedding timetable is totally lying. Number two, the dead goat comment was about John Mahama not acceding to demands by labor unions.
You have a definition.
The budget.
You have an explanation to yours.
That is a fact.
Mahama
never cancelled allowance.
You have an explanation.
You replace them with the
other people don't have.
Everybody wanted to
You can find them at Adenta Shopping Center, Adenta down. You can call Konatic Clothing on 0244 676732. 0244 676732. This has been Newsfile. Tomorrow at 2 p.m., join me with Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh, Executive Director of the CDD Ghana, as we look at the Supreme Court bench debate, where there is a proposal to increase the bench from 15 to 20. Never miss it.